so that the board can work the way they're supposed to. You got two options. You can either let it go and hopefully cross your fingers, maybe something's going to work out of it, or you can address it and hopefully we can work past it, whatever the situation may be. Asking questions, it's a good thing to do. We do it. It's the way we figure out stuff. I mean, there's a lot of things here that I'm learning as I'm going that some people, like Mike or Mr. Bachman, have known for business and know that type of stuff. Me, I know law enforcement. I can work law enforcement great. When it comes to owning a business, I'll never do it. So, I mean, there's different people that work in different aspects, and it just goes from there. So asking questions, even if they're tough questions or something that gets people riled up because you're asking them, I feel it's warranted. Why not? I mean, that way you know where you're sitting and what's going on. If you don't ask, you're never going to know. Let's see. I feel like our board or our council works well. If some boards are not going to work well, they're having problems maybe getting things done or getting to a point where they should be. Now, I don't know the right outcome for all this yet. I haven't decided which way I want to do things, but still, it's something at least needs to be addressed with what's going on. Whether it be removing Mr. Bachman from the light plant or maybe working with him, hopefully he can not be so abrasive to people. There's certain ways you can do things and handle people, and there's certain ways you shouldn't. So I'm kind of stuck in that middle point right now. I mean, I feel that with asking the questions and stuff that he does a pretty good job at it. And I'm hoping if he gets removed from the board, I'm hoping that the board will still step up and ask those questions, or whoever replaces him still ask those questions to make the board more efficient. If not, then we haven't done anything better. So.
Comment I want to make is, however the vote comes out tonight, I will support the majority, whether I'm on the wrong side or not. And I know it's a smile from you, but I mean that. And that's the way a board should operate, and it shouldn't be brought up at meeting after meeting after meeting. It should be left wherever it ends tonight. And that's the way I'll leave it, and I hope that we all do.
Would you like to say anything, John?
Well, one, I'll applaud Dustin and his comments. I have not quite taken it to an investigative scenario because I haven't had to. The number of people that have approached me with comment and everything that I've been hearing obviously has been, in some cases, firsthand, in many cases, secondhand. But primarily it is somewhat in the court of law scenario when you have a reasonable doubt situation, and it has to be beyond reasonable doubt. When you have one or two people saying one thing, well, maybe that's not true. But when you have multiple people talking to you about a situation, then you have more belief in the credence of the matter.
And
nothing. That pretty much tells you where I'm going with this.
okay.
I say you had a chance earlier. Danny hasn't said a word yet.
Okay, go ahead, Danny. Nobody shot at me yet either.
Do what?
Nobody shot at me yet either.
No. You haven't spoken.
I think the only part I really would like to make is prior to Leon being on the board, the Honorable Carl Scharf was called many times and wanted to know why we had the highest electric rates in the state of Iowa. Now, if you're going to be first at something, it shouldn't be the highest utility rates, in the state of Iowa. I wouldn't think that'd be anything to be proud of. We didn't put it on our resume, and it's not on the sign out to the edge of town. So obviously there had to be some changes made on the board, and Carl put Leon Bachman down there for two reasons. He's been in business for many years. He started that place up there, Bachman Tool and Die. I remember when he started Bachman Tool and Die.
I thought his dad did.
No, his dad sold out, and then and Leon stayed there with a pair of pliers and a screwdriver, and now he's got what he is today. Now, I'd say that was a pretty good success story. So this is reason he was put where he was put, because he's very successful. And he was put there with a mission. His mission was to get the find out, first of all, it's feasible to lower the rates, because we were told all along, this is, can't be done, can't be done. Well, it turned out, as long as we was gonna be Santa Claus up there and give everybody with the do-gooder program coming along a handful of money or a wheelbarrow full of money, that's true, we probably couldn't raise the rates or lower the rates. But Leon kind of put a stop to that. And I think this is probably the major reason we're having this meeting tonight. Because Leon's keeping a real close eye on that cookie jar. And every greasy politician can't get their hand in that cookie jar whenever they want to. And I think that's probably why we're here tonight. The real reason. I found in politics there's always two reasons for everything. There's the reason we tell the whole public, and then there's the real reason. And I think the real reason's out now. And that's about all I got to say about it.
Okay, Mike, hopefully you don't have another half hour.
And you know something, we don't necessarily have to go over all this. It's really just, it's some things, you know, he hit on it, you know, the reasons Leon was up there, the successes, and Leon's obviously not responsible for all of it, but he's responsible for probably being the catalyst. And had he not been there, we'd probably continue on as we were. If you remember, there was even conversations a couple months ago about how much should the light power, how much should they raise them? You know, because they didn't want to stay flat a year, they just wanted a little bit more. There's no thought process of lowering rates. You know, just year after year lowering them. That's what you do in business, is you try to become more competitive. Having said that, I just had a list of things that I thought was important that we should all know. Perhaps it's not, but I will say, and I know that it's very easy for all of us to say, well, so-and-so told me, or but I don't want to tell who it was. I did go around town today, and I talked to some people, and it was specifically about Leon on the board. And I'll tell you, some of them said, you know, he's hard to work with, he's this, he's that, they have differences of business. But to a person, every one of these people said it would be a very big mistake for us to get rid of him. And I'll just read it. And basically, guys, you may not know the businesses, but Robert Hearn, Jerry Jensen from Jensen Transport, Tim Jensen, Mark Nielsen from the Creamery, Fred Smock from Dunlap, some citizens, Alan and Janie Kimball, my wife even said so. Gordy Fenner was very adamant that we need people like Leon on the board and that Leon should be there. Bill Hickey, Steve Esch. I won't even tell you what Steve said, but it was very positive. Dick Kremches, John Butler from Pinnacle Ford, Jerry Bitterman, Ron Hearn, Mark White. And I didn't even go around my ward, but I bet you if I went around the ward and said, and talked to people, I bet you there's not very many that would want him off. Now, is he hard to work with? Yeah, sometimes he is, but you know something, when you ask hard questions, that's what happens. So, I think that probably is enough from me for the time being.
Sure.
No. I always have a couple questions.
If you like Columbo, one more thing.
Okay.
You sure you don't?
For the time being.
Oh, no,
I'll let you know if
before I
have
get
more.
started and before Leon gets
I think
started,
we
we'd
should-
like to
I
have you
think
all
we
get
should-
done, so.
I think we should go. Maybe I'll have something.
I
when
think
we
maybe we
get
should go to Leon and let him stand up and talk.
Well, I'm going to make a couple of comments on behalf of Mr. Bachman, and thank you for having us up here this evening. You know, I think what is important to consider is the fact that there is not a single member of the utility board who has come before this group and asked for Mr. Bachman's removal. If one of those members, if this board is truly dysfunctional, you would expect that the people that are working with Mr. Bachman on that board would be before you asking for his removal. Secondly, there have been no names provided of the citizens who are apparently complaining about Mr. Bachman. And this is the United States of America, and to come in and offer up hearsay and say, well, somebody who I'm not gonna tell you who it is said they don't like Mr. Bachman and they think he's disruptive, or he's creating an environment at the utility which makes it difficult for people to do their job. That's not how we do things in America. If people have a complaint, they need to come forward before this group, and they need to explain to you what it is that's bothering them and why they think it is that Mr. Bachman is causing disruption with them at the utility. But that hasn't happened this evening. There have been no names provided. There has been no citizen from the public who has come in here and asked this board to remove Mr. Bachman. And what's troubling is Mr. Bachman is being asked to defend innuendo, hearsay statements, and you can't do that. It can't be done. So there's really nothing for Mr. Bachman to defend. He's a businessman. He's a tough businessman. And what he's doing is trying to get the citizens of this community the best possible rates. He's trying to save the money of the utility. He's trying to watch where every penny goes. He's not doing it to line his own pockets. He's doing it for the citizens of this community. When you ask a person to serve on a board in the future, if you remove him this evening, every one of those people is going to say, well, I wonder if I'm going to be the next Leon if I ask a tough question, if I put somebody to their proof. And that's really not something that I think the city wants to do, because it's going to make a tremendous challenge for you to get people to volunteer. This board is working, the utility board. If it wasn't, that utility board would